Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH and I'm back for yet another hardware review today. And I'm doing things a little bit differently just to let you know before I get started. I'm actually recording this with a little gadget that I got on Amazon for cheap. A little head cam, or a little head mount I should say, for my iPhone. And so far it seems to work pretty well. I am still trying to get the hang of where to look and how to look at things based on where I'm looking because I don't see the actual viewfinder of my phone because it's on my forehead. Nevertheless, hardware review time. What we're looking at here today is the Roland TD-4KP V-Drums, the electronic drum kit. And I've been meaning to record this for a while, and I think before I go into the kind of overview of it myself, I'm just going to, I've got my Victor Reader Stream over here, my new generation one there, and I have it hooked up. And I can play, I probably won't play the whole song, maybe I'll play a verse or something. Trying to figure out what to play, you know, no matter what you play or no matter what kind of music you play, people seem to just, oh, that's stupid, why'd you play that, you know, or whatever. But, you know what, we're going to just stick to kind of good old classic band, you know, a little bit of straightforward AC/DC stuff. So I'm just going to play a little bit of the song, maybe more, we'll see. And hopefully this comes through decently enough on the camera footage and the audio. So we will play a little bit of the song just so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. Also mixed with another audio source. And then I will do the review proper. So here goes nothing. we're going to stop it there and end my embarrassment for you for a while. But yeah, that was a little bit of just, AC/DC from the Black Ice album, fairly recent album, and it is Rock and Roll Train there. And I did a little bit of a mix-up where I tried to add a few beats here and there, change things up compared to the original song, just to try to show you, how the drum set responds and stuff. And believe me, I'm not an expert drummer by any means. I'm actually a pretty, very beginner drummer. I've only been playing drums, believe it or not, for the past, I would say, 9 months, tops. Drumming is just one of those things that I've always wanted to learn and always wanted to do. And in grade school, I started out in 5th grade trying to do drums, and I could have, but in their infinite wisdom, for whatever reason, my school had decided, well, guess what? We don't think you're going to be able to keep up with the band, so we're going to take you out of band and give you private guitar lessons instead. Well, granted, guitar is great. I love guitar. It's cool. But I still really wanted to try my hand at drums. And the main problem with living in an apartment, as you can very well guess, is that you put a regular full drum set in your house or in your apartment, you are going to get either hated by your neighbors and or evicted for all the noise violations. So, thankfully, in the last couple of years or few years, there has been a lot of progress made in computerizing and making everything electronic, and that's where we come into play with the Roland drum set that I have. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you a little bit of a tour of the drum set, and to do that I'm going to take this crazy phone off of my head so I can actually have a viewfinder, and we are going to just hold the phone as normal, which means I'm only going to do this one-handed, but at least you got to hear a full drum set being played. So here you have the drum set itself. It is a small, compact unit. And so let me stand up. Let me back up a little bit. Let me give you a full view of this little critter. This is the Roland TD-4KP, as in Papa, V-Drums electronic drum kit. So it's all basically one piece. It folds up into a pretty small carryable unit that you can put. I don't have its actual bag, but you can get a carry bag for it, and you can take it to like band practice or gigs or what have you. So you have the full drum set here. You have your snare and your hi-hat, complete with pedal down there. And this is a special pedal that plugs right into this little brain here. You notice this little box right down there where I'm pointing with the drumstick here. That is the brains of the outfit, which I'll talk about shortly. You have your two toms, and then your floor tom. Nice bass there. And then, of course, you have your crash and your ride. So what's really interesting, especially about these cymbals, oh, and then your kick drum, of course. Now your kick drum down here, if you come down here, it is a real kick pedal. So I just got a regular, I bought this from Guitar Center last year, and I just bought a regular foot pedal for a kick drum, and it just hits this little pad right here, these rubber pads. So that is the unit as a whole. Now, the interesting thing about especially the cymbals is that you can hit them in different places, and depending on where you hit them, it will sound different. So what I typically do, especially just to, you know, hopefully appease the neighbors and not make them too angry at me, you hear the that's really all you hear, even if you're banging on these suckers. If you play on the rubber part, you can plug headphones into this unit down here, and you can pretty much just bang it out, no problem. And your neighbors really aren't going to hear a thing. If they do, it'll be just a kind of a really quiet, rhythmic tap. Also, so it kind of also depends on where you hit it, like in the middle versus on the outside, you get different sound effects. And then if you hit the plastic part, it's open. Most of the time you're not going to play that way. Most of the time you're going to play with the cymbal shut. Now, what I notice is that when I'm using speakers anyway, I can't play with it really all the way shut, because you don't hear, you really got to bash the hell out of the cymbal to really hear it other than the actual tap. In order to hear the actual drum sound, you really got to bang the crap out of it. So what I do is I will open up just a tad. Let's see. So it's not going to be quite as accurate, you know, as a real cymbal necessarily, but it still sounds pretty good, especially once you get your foot, you know, once you get used to how far open you want to put your, lift your foot. And you can still do things with your hi-hat. You can kind of, you know, you can kind of do your slam it shut. You can slam it shut, that kind of thing. Same thing with your other cymbals here. So if I hit it lightly, if I hit it hard, I can hit it hard there, or I can hit it hard here. So you get different sounds depending on where you hit it. Same thing with your ride. So I can get the gong. And all of these sounds I can customize in this brain down here. Toms are pretty much, you know, you hit them wherever and they pretty much sound mostly the same from what I can tell. But your snare, it also right now is wherever you hit it, it sounds pretty much the same. One minor complaint that I have, or at least I haven't figured it out, is there's a technique called side stick, and that's basically where, you know, if you hear a slower song, especially during the verses, usually, instead of hearing the typical, you're going to hear like a more of a wooden pop sound, and that's kind of them hitting the side of the actual physical drum for your side, or for your side stick. And I can't figure out a way to make the unit do that. Or moreover, I can't figure out how to do it where, you know, I thought if I hit the side of the stick or the side of the thing, maybe hit it at a certain part or a certain angle, or already have one stick down and then hit another. Can't seem to make that work, especially if even if I were to figure out here on the brains of it, I don't know that I would be able to figure out, I don't know if I can, you know, switch. So during the verses I might be doing side stick, and then the regular, you know, the choruses and stuff, I'd be doing the regular hitting the snare. That's one minor complaint that I have, at least with this original pad. Now, I do know that you can get a mesh pad, so you can replace your snare drum with an actual soft mesh pad, and that might actually have more functionality. So if you're more of a, you know, I mean, if you're more of an advanced drummer, or if you are wanting to have that flexibility, I'm only guessing here, but I would guess that, you know, I've seen other drum sets. I've, you know, tinkered with them in the Guitar Center store a little bit, and I've seen, you know, some of them have the wooden kind of outside to them. So, you know, maybe you can get side stick to happen that way, but that's one thing that I just really haven't been able to really figure out with my current default setup. So, you know, as a beginner drummer, I think it's a great way to learn, and like I said, it takes up really hardly any space. I've got my little counter here. You know, again, if you remember when I came in from behind the drum stool here, it's not a heck of a lot wider than the drum stool itself, and I probably could actually compress it a little bit more, get these maybe a little bit closer together or aligned a little bit better. But for now, for what I'm doing, it seems to work fine. So that is the actual kit themselves. You can adjust everything in there, and you do that with a combination of a couple of different things. So let me see if I can find... So if I come down here, you see that knob? These you can adjust by hand, and these you can kind of do more like bigger movements and to loosen things, and like you can kind of adjust the tilt, in some cases like the height and stuff. And then you have, let's see, it might be easier to do this with the cymbal. Yeah, so you see that little kind of nut looking thing there, that silver thing? You get a special little key, they call it, and this is something that regular drum sets use as well. But you can adjust, though, you loosen that up, and then I can tilt and reposition my cymbals or any other part of the drum set that I wish, and I can adjust them that way. So it is fully adjustable. You can fold up the unit, like I said, to fit in its carry bag that I don't have, but cool nonetheless. So I was talking about the brains of the unit. This is where all of the processing happens, and hoo boy, a little dusty. So on the back, you might be able to see there's a ginormous cord. It almost looks like a big old like parallel port cord on the back, and there's a whole bunch of wires coming out of it. So you plug this one thing into the back, and then it branches out, and you plug in all of your, you know, your snare, your hi-hat, all your cymbals, all your toms. You plug it, they just branch off, and then you just plug them into almost like a little headphone jack looking thing onto each piece. Now, the basics of the drum kit I really like. There are a few things, however, that are kind of frustrating, and this is more from a blind or visually impaired perspective. So you look at the screen here, it's brightly lit, but let's see. Ooh, oopsie. So you really can't get that on camera very well. I have used a magnifier CCTV app a little bit, once or twice, to try to change a few settings, but it's a real pain. So if you can't see this screen without magnification, it can be really tough to use a lot of its advanced features, and there are a lot of advanced features. I sadly have just not been able to take advantage of them because of the need to use the screen. So for instance, got your power all the way up in the upper left, and then you have, I forget what these are, really don't use them a whole lot. You got your volume knob in the lower left, and then you have the ability to choose your drum kit, preset drum kits, which I'll show you here shortly. And then over here you have a lot of your advanced settings and things that you can do. So there is a metronome, there is an actual drum tutor, so if you want to learn like certain drum beats and practice along, you can do that. Like I said, you can go in and let's say you found a kit that you like, but you want to tweak it a little bit, or you want to customize and make up your own kit. You can do that if you can see. So that's where the display comes in. So I have not really been able to adjust, you know, the different settings and different tones and things for each one of my drum kits. So I wish I could, because I think I could get some pretty cool... There's a couple drum kits that I like, but I wish I could just, like I said, tweak them a little bit for a certain cymbal to behave a certain way, or maybe I want to turn the floor tom into something else. You know, I don't even know. Maybe there's a, you know, maybe there's a bell setting, maybe there's a cowbell setting. I don't know, because I'm not able to really get in there to tweak some of those things. But that is the brains of the unit. So before I wrap up, I do want to show you, like I said, Roland has modeled a lot of different pre-made drum sounds already. So I typically just use the default one. So I hear, you know, everything that you've heard so far. If I go, let's see. Got kind of a muffled snare there. Pretty much the same. Almost like kettle drums. Pretty much the same. I'm not going to do this for every kit, but I do want to show you a few, because like I said, the variety of sounds that they have. That's more of an open sound. And some of them will drastically change the sound of the cymbals and stuff too. So let's try another one. Little stage echo there. And keep going. That's a different sound. Up here. And again, you know, I'm not closing the snare or I'm not closing the hi-hat or anything, but just to give you an idea. Different sounds there. Trying to find some of the... Oh, geez. That's not even the floor. That's some pretty low tom action there. What else do we got? It's been a while since I've actually looked at these. Really tight snare there. Different sounds. Again, really echoey if you want that stadium lake effect. I know we'll get into some other crazy ones here. One of them is like there's like some really weird like 80s ones, and let me see what I can find. Oh, geez. Oh, what did I hit? Holy crap. Uh-oh. I think I hit a button by mistake, guys. I have no freaking idea what I just did. That's about the same. Wish I could keep... sorry it's taken a little while, but really tricky to do this one-handed. Now, come on, let's find a cool one here. And I haven't been doing the bass. I guess I should have been doing that too. So there's my foot pedal. A little bit there. Let's try a couple more. There's a lot of these kits in here too. Little reggae man. A little reggae. Oh yeah, so there we got a little... That's definitely a different sound. Kind of a different cymbal sound there for you. Oh, this is more like an 80s one. There's my foot, there's my bass pedal. Snare. You got that? I don't know, a little Latin music thing going on there or something. Kind of a wooden sound there on my cymbal. So there's another interesting one. That's a foot pedal. I don't know what you'd call that one. Oh, there you go. Whoops. So you got some different sounds there. There's another one too that's just got some crazy... They even go so far as to put like hip-hop and rap stuff in here. See if I can find it. So it's an interesting snare drum sound. I didn't do the cymbals. Okay, that could be kind of interesting. I could see a few songs where you could probably take advantage of that. A little kind of a, almost like a beatbox sort of thing there. Oh yeah, that one's weird. That one's cool. So you can get all kinds of crazy stuff. And like I said, if I still had this on my head, I could do, you know, combinations and let you hear them, but I figured it was probably more important to actually have a good view of what's going on instead of just hoping and guessing that I'm doing this video correctly. There's definitely like an 80s sound, or actually, well, that's more of like a 90s hip, or 90s like dance. Damn. Okay. A lot of different sounds on, that's one kit there. Really echoey one. Okay. Fair enough. I think we're almost getting there, you guys. Oh, there's the 80s one, man. That's kind of cool. Cheesy but cool. I can totally see that in an 80s, like 80s pop thing going on there. That's kind of neat. Oh, here's the hip-hop one I was talking about. With the speakers that I'm using, you probably can't get a real good idea, but put some headphones in this sucker, and there's your foot pedal. You can get some serious bass out of that pedal. So that's where you're going to get a lot of your like rap and hip-hop kind of thing, but that bass drum is pretty fun to hit. You get a lot of bass out of that, the right setup. But you know what? I think we're nearing the end of it here. I want to say there's like somewhere between 15 and 20 different drum kits available. So there's a lot there. And like I said, you can customize these. So if you want one of these toms or something to sound a little bit differently, you can. Like I said, there's the metronome that you can speed up and slow down or have it on or off. You can, I think you can even record your playing. But again, like I said, all of that really requires you to be able to see that dang screen. So that would be one of my knocks against it as a low vision user of a drum set like this. But otherwise, you know, like I said, I just started playing drums essentially last, I want to say March or April. So I'm recording this in mid to late January of 2015, and I haven't been playing long, but I have definitely, you know, even with this smaller unit like this, you know, I think I've gotten a lot better idea of, you know, I can play a steady beat, I can do a little bit of fills, but not really well. I would say fills and transitions are currently where I struggle, and one of the first things that was really hard for me to get used to was, you know, drums. I mean, if you're a drummer, obviously you already know this, but for those who are new, one of the hardest things initially is to do different rhythms with each of your limbs. So you might be holding a certain beat with your foot, and you'll be doing something with the hi-hat at a different speed. You'll be hitting this, then you'll be doing transitions and your cymbals, and it just gets to be a mess, especially right away. So, you know, I'm getting better at doing certain types of different rhythms, and you know, I've tried to play a little bit of, you know, from classic rock from 70s and 80s, and then some newer stuff if I can. A lot of the newer stuff, especially like the metal, I think a lot of that uses double bass pedals, which are absolutely crazy. and fast, and a lot of the stuff that I would want to play in that genre, probably not going to happen, at least for quite some time. But, you know, for having played less than a year, I definitely see myself improving. I definitely, you know, I did go play with some friends in last November on a real drum set. And yeah, I was able to just kind of pick it up, and, you know, obviously I had to get used to more of the larger real drum kit compared to this, you know, tight setup here. But, you know, give me a couple minutes and I was able to just kind of dive right in and play with a regular drum set, and held my own reasonably well. So, you know, I think it's a really great tool. I can't believe how much more real these things sound compared to even a few years ago. Like, I looked at some drum kits early on, like, I don't know, quite a few years ago, and they had them, but they just they sounded electronic. They didn't sound real. But a lot of times, especially if you get a good pair of headphones, you get a good set of speakers. Right now I'm just using, there's my sub down there. I've got my one speaker there, one speaker there. I've got these kind of old Altec Lansing 2.1 speakers from an old desktop that I got in like 1998, and they still work well enough. And you know what? For its purposes here, works fine. Typically in my apartment, I'm going to be using headphones, so it doesn't really matter anyway. I just, you know, plug in headphones. So right where you plug in the back here, you also see a couple cords coming out the left side. The one closest to me is my input, so I can plug an MP3 player, my Victor Reader Stream like I did. My output goes right here, and that's going to go out to my headphones or my speakers. Or you know what? I think I just told you that opposite. Yeah, I think I did. Oopsie. Yeah, I believe so. This would be the headphone, and then the back one would be the input. But nevertheless, it's really nice. It's really convenient because I love the ability to just plug in some headphones and plug in some other music source. And really, you know, I didn't take any drum lessons. I just listened to some music, found some things with a fairly steady 4/4 beat, or at least something that seemed reasonably playable to my, you know, newness, and just picked it up and started playing around with it. Got a few beats down, tried a few more, you know, try to add a few beats in there just to spice things up a little bit, tried a little bit more complicated songs, and, you know, long way to go yet, but I really like it, and I will definitely be continuing to use this in the future. It's not one of those things where, oh yeah, this is a cool thing, you know, I use it for the first month and then I just kind of put it aside. I've actually found myself getting quite addicted to playing these drums, and I continue to practice at least several times per week, usually. You know, I've played guitar a little bit in the past, or at least I pretend to, so I've actually found myself not really playing my guitar as much, and I really should get back into that as well. But, you know, stepping back here, that's really that's as big as it is. That is the Roland TD-4KP V-Drums electronic drum kit. You can find these at pretty much most big music stores. I got mine from Guitar Center. They will run you probably on average about $800. I got mine a little bit cheaper because I got the floor model. It looked pretty much brand new and played well, so they gave me a heck of a deal on it. But I got the floor model because they didn't have any others in stock. But yeah, about $800, give or take some, and I really like it, especially for if you're in an apartment and you want to be able to still learn how to play, or if you could play drums but now you're in an apartment and you think you can't, give this one a shot. I would say it's a great introductory drum kit and well worth looking into. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, I will talk to you guys again later. Oops.
Stop recording video. Stop recording video.